Dude, get a bigger car. It's going to be suffocating now. Hey guys, welcome to our very first podcast where me and Rahul are going to discuss about mixed reality and its future prospects. It's going to be a great video, so pay till the end.
Yep. Hey everybody, Anish, could you explain what mixed reality means?
See, I think before we come to mixed reality, I think we should let people know how exactly the word has been derived as mixed reality. So basically, as we all know, there are two types of realities here: augmented and virtual reality. Both are highly entitled softwares. So what is augmented reality? Basically, it overlays a digital content into a real world. That's augmented reality. And virtual reality is basically the user surrounds itself with a virtual content. He escapes the real world and he goes into a virtual world.
If you would want to say what mixed reality means in just one sentence, what would it be?
Where augmented reality and virtual reality come together, we get mixed reality. A new revolutionized software.
Alright, that's a good point you did mention about, and that's a good example as well. Where do you think is this whole concept of mixed reality headed for in the future?
It's a new concept, it is revolutionary, and I think the way Apple has introduced this thing, my goodness, it's expensive, but my goodness, it's really good. It's going to change a lot of things for us. We might be just not using TV after a few years or after a decade or so. Things might change. The way we interact with each other, it might change. The way we view content, it might change. We really never know what happens. It's something I could say, this is going to something work out in future for everyone. I think it's a type of technology that creates necessity.
It will be.
Than resolve the current problems. There's something that's going to create a problem, then solve it.
It is going to be revolutionary. In fact, I do believe that. But there are a few points with MR which I don't agree on, and I don't think it is something which might be revolutionary for in the future. Firstly, let's start with the expense, I would believe. To just add on to the point, MR is pretty much expensive if you do realize that fact. It's going to be a lot more better if the whole expenses and the target what it is. That is basically they're just targeting the niche market presently. Like if you do observe that Apple has charged over $3,500.
Around 4 lakhs, I guess.
Yeah, that was around 4 lakhs, $3,500. That is pretty much expensive for an ordinary person to buy. And I would see that in the forthcoming future, maybe people might use it. But presently, people would just want to experience it once. Like go to the shopping malls, go to different places and then just experience it once and be like, okay, yeah, this is good. But can they afford it is the real question here. What do you think about it?
See, Rahul, I think right now what you make point is understandable. It's expensive. 4 lakh is not a cheap amount. It's very expensive. But then, let's just face the hard truth. Anything new which comes into the world, it is expensive because it takes a lot of data. It takes a lot of money. Shut up. It takes a lot of money, dude. It takes a boatload of money to to do the R&D on that product and come up with a different genre of it. Then making a new product out of it, because people before all we knew was AR and VR. Bringing a concept like MR, and if you see the conversion when the first new mobile phones also came like 10 years, 15 years back also, it was not so easy for people to shift from keypad mobile to a smartphone. I mean, we needed everything that a keypad mobile could do. Text, call, that's what we needed, right? But when iPhone released their, touchscreen, suddenly we started having new things like Facebook, then Instagram, social media apps, something which we didn't even need it at that point. But it came, right? Because it created a necessity. And by time, mobiles have gotten cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, and it is accessible to everyone. So I'm not saying it's going to happen right now, but it is going to happen in future for sure. Other companies are going to copy the data what Apple has made. They're going to make their own version of it. They'll change the algorithms. It might just be a little cheaper.
Why would they change the algorithms?
If they won't change the algorithm, then it'll just be a copy and paste shit.
That, in fact, is a very valid point you have made.
I know.
But I do definitely raise a few concerns when it comes to MR in general. And those points could, be like manipulation, and there might be a spread of misinformation. where MR might be involved in it, directly or indirectly.
So you're saying MR will actually manipulate?
Yes, directly or indirectly. You know, there are a few phases where MR itself might end up blurring a few text and messages where they want to show you a few particular things according to what they want, because the level of feeding these information and all these technologies have, it's quite interesting to be looked at.
So you're saying MR will actually decide what to show and what not to show on its
To a
own?
certain extent, yes,
On its own.
it might. To a certain extent, it might.
Oh, that's a fucked up algorithm,
Yes,
bro.
because if you just consider artificial intelligence, what is happening nowadays is that ChatGPT is feeding its information based on the experiences of what people are prompting it.
Correct.
It is still a speculation, but there might be highly possibilities where mixed reality might add or do such activities.
When we're talking about psychological and this manipulation thing, I think I would raise a concern with children also that goes to education system. In that case, what are your viewpoints? When I said in the beginning, MR is something that is going to create a necessity, and education is one of those things. So what is your take on it?
Education is a very interesting topic to talk about when it comes to mixed reality in general, because education is a whole concept which will be influenced no matter what the revolution is. Moving on from a traditional way of learning, it is time for something new for students to adapt and learn, right?
Yeah, everybody's tired of Wikipedia.
It's not about adaptation because the features given are very much clear. If being structured might develop them, I don't think there is any concern for mixed reality to fail here. But now companies like Apple or any other companies will definitely look to hike the prices, considering education is more of a business than of like education.
Education is business.
Education is still a far-fetched topic.
Yeah.
And we should rather focus on how these companies are going to market their products into the whole market, so that every generation is flexible in using these MR technologies.
I think advertising their product into the market is one huge step, and that's the basic first step of any company. I think they might just go through a lot of challenges, because I don't think so that MR as a headset is going to be suited for all the type of ages.
MR,
Not too young children can use and not too old people can use them. But then there's one thing, by time everything might just develop, but this is something which is going to take a lot of time. It is a product which people know if they get used to it, it's difficult to come out. So there should be some restrictions even while they make the product. It's not like they'll make it so immersive. People will forget the real world and just go into the virtual world. They have to make sure that there should be some boundaries between the virtual world and the real world. So that is a huge challenge for these big companies, to solve. It's like a big wall.
Okay guys, that's all for today on Heads or Tails. Now it's on you guys to make an opinion on mixed reality.
Please do like and subscribe our channel. We will be back with more exciting subjects from all around the world. Until then, stay tuned.